Hello, my name is Ivan, and today there's something I really want to discuss with you because it's something which I feel has influenced me a lot as somebody who deals with game design. This is how important I think, like, a lot of people ask me, do you need to play a lot of games in order to design games? And today I really just want to talk about this genre, which I think is so important if you want to design games, and it's also something that I've drawn a lot of comparisons to music with. There's a very big similarity to it. But to get to it really quick, the genre is campaign games or legacy games. Like right now, I'm playing through Under Falling Skies, which I think is like basically it's one of the best games I can think of if you want to do game design, just because of how many variations you get and how many different ideas. I haven't even been through the whole game. I actually just finished the first real scenario, but I played through all of the different modules. And really that's what I'm talking about today. It's the different modules because I think different modules in games, and when you play games that have these different modules, they get you thinking like a game designer. And I feel like this is just a great example of just that. As a game designer, being able to see uh, how somebody else did something really well, because lots of times you get stuck on things like where do I go now? You get really used to one mode of the game, and when you play campaign games or when you play games with modules, whether it's a campaign game or not, you see how like just a small change to the game, it keeps it fresh, and you can see how to make those small changes. And even if at the end you want to get to having a game which is 100% ready and just it is what it is when you open the box, you're going to have to go through that development process. And that development process, a lot of times for me, has looked exactly like a campaign game. You try things out, you try putting things in, taking things out. And that's exactly what happens. Basically, the way I see it, a good campaign game or game with modules will take you through a like mini development process where you're seeing a well-made game where you have lots of different variations. I'll mention a few of these, and then I'll mention why I see the parallel between this and music. But yeah, Under Falling Skies, to me right now, this is the best game for if you're interested in game development, to be able to, like, it's so well implemented. The game has, I'm gonna do a separate review on it, but right now I'm just talking from like a game design or game development perspective. This game does a wonderful job of putting in new mechanics, taking out other mechanics, changing things up. Like for example, the game has this great, you roll dice and you choose where to place them. And you have this great mechanic where whenever you place a white die, there's white and gray dice, you have to re-roll all the other dice. But what they did for one of the modules was just, all right, how about instead of having a die, you have 6 tokens numbered from 1 to 6, and you don't use one of the dice. Instead of using that die, you just draw a token, and you know that all of these numbers are going to pass. And it changed up the game quite a bit because you didn't actually know you had to leave a space for a number which, like, at the beginning you don't know what it is, just random. Later on, you get more of an idea of what that number is. But what I'm saying is, like, a small change like that. Like, what if instead of a die, we have a random number and there's no repeating numbers, basically. Super small change. It changed the game a lot, changing how tracks work. So this game, the board is also modular. So there's a lot of modular things in it. And for example, like in some scenarios, you're gonna have tracks which are larger. For example, you can have more energy, have more resources. In other scenarios, the track which you need to win is different. It's going to be longer or shorter. And just seeing how this is done so well has motivated me. Like, this is the main game that's motivating me to tell people about campaign games and about thinking about modules. Another 2 games I have as just examples. This is actually an expansion for Scythe, which I really enjoyed for that same reason. I've played through the whole expansion once, and same thing. So they tried out Jamie Stegmaier, the designer. With this expansion, it's my favorite expansion of all of them. because there's so many like different modules. You can you have, Scythe is a large kind of area control game. You've got some dudes on a map. You've got some resource management. You got engine building, but what this expansion does is you can focus on different things. For example, you can make it so that war gives more points, so you can incentivize players to attack each other more. Changes the game a lot. You can do the opposite. You can make it so that war doesn't earn you any stars, or it doesn't help you out at all. So in that case, you're just trying to focus on the engine building part of the game. Or there's a module in there where you can have an alliance, and you can kind of share your special powers with another player, and form alliances, and just these small things, small changes, which ultimately produce an interesting experience, and it gives so much to those players, especially if you enjoy playing games. I actually felt with Scythe, my one problem was I felt like it was moving quite fast. So I would like to play it again, just because I feel like I would benefit more from trying either different changes of the modules, or different variations of which module goes with which and stuff like that. And it's just so interesting. It's so good, and it's like watching the development process. And the final game I'm gonna show, and it's one that I haven't yet finished, but I think it's number 2 in Board Game Geek, or it was number 1 for a very long time. That's Pandemic Legacy. It's a legacy game, and most legacy games are like this. They are going to give you variations on usually a good game, in this case Pandemic, because in order to do this, you want to have a good, strong base in order to make a good legacy game. But same thing, I'm not going to spoil any of the things that happen in this, because it's a non-replayable legacy game. But I think designers would most benefit from playing games like these 3 games, or just anything with modules. And the parallel that I draw with music, because I don't know if you know, but I've been quite involved in music for the past 12, 13 years. The parallel that I draw is with variations, and with the older musicians in the Baroque period. There was just so much that they did with counterpoint. And if you're interested in music, you probably know what I'm talking about, but it's variations on the same theme, and you learn so much from that. And that was like such a huge practice for composers, or for composers to learn from. And I know that even Bach, he wasn't as well known in his time, but he became more well known after so many other composers, lots of years after his death, said that they learned from playing his music. So I think that this is a great, like, if I was just beginning game design right now, there's 2 things I would recommend. One would be, play games like this, try out different modules, get used to the idea that your game is changing, because a lot of times we get stuck in that mindset of, this is my game, I don't want to touch anything because it kind of works now. Well, I think you shouldn't be afraid of that, and getting over that fear is going to help so many designers. And then the second thing is, and I actually had the pleasure to talk to Tomasz Uchlir, who is the designer of Under Falling Skies. I mention it every time because it was a great conversation, which you can click the link below to see. But the second thing, and I know that the designer does this, and you can see it in the game, is if you have time, if you have a game which you really love, try designing a module for it. Try making changes to that game, because I think that is going to help you become a better designer. Just getting used to that, I think, is so important for game design. And if you have any questions, or any comments, I'd be happy to hear them. But I've been thinking about this for the past couple days, and I think that this is gonna benefit most designers. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I'm new to YouTube, so it really makes a difference to me, and I want to keep making videos because I really love it, and I love being in the board game industry, and I want to grow this channel as well. So thank you so much for watching.